guilty of crime.
Hello, everybody. What's up? I'm Jay with Guilty of Crime, and we're back. What is up, everybody? What a week. My goodness. It's Wednesday, y'all. It's July. Leos, Cancers, come out. Everybody that's here, hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't. Get a membership if you can. If you have the means to get a membership, please get one for yourself. You won't regret it, I promise. And if you have the means to donate to help the channel, please do. Let's everybody come on in. You guys know that we're nearing the end of the Madeline Soto case thus far, with Stephan Sterns pleading guilty to the 60 counts and no contest to the Red Rum capital M case. That's what we're going to talk about today, but we're going to talk about Jen Soto, the worst mother ever, worst evil mother. What's next for Jen Soto? Why was she not at the sentencing? Why did she not go to any of the services, vigils, anything? All right. She went to the very first private funeral with the family, but after that, she vanished. A lot of people are asking, is she in a mental hospital? Where's Jen? What happened? So many questions circulating on the internet. So today we're going to try to get things wrapped up in your mind. Tomorrow we're going to do the same with the Stephan Sterns case. We're going to go over exactly what happened, what led up to that. What is Stephan thinking now? We know. Nobody else really does. They can hear. So I'm not going to show any of the text messages, but I am going to read you text messages prior to the night that Stephan pled and then after. I'm going to make sure that's all everywhere. Graciela, thank you for being a member for 13 months. Just wanted to send love and light to y'all, and I've missed you. Good to see you. I hope you're doing better. I hope your health is doing well. And everybody else, what's up, guys? I know a lot of people want to know what's next, why Jen didn't get arrested. Is she going to get arrested? What's going on in Florida? I see it. Yesterday, when I got off of our live stream, I went into another YouTuber's chat and I went on there and I talked with them, and there's so many questions to still be had. So I did not want to just wrap it up and say, okay, we're done with that. Let's go to the next case. We are moving to the next case, and the next case, but I want to make sure that I feel like I did justice for Maddie in the way that I could, in any way that I could. So welcome, everybody. Let's find out where the worst mother ever is. Evil mother, whatever you want to call Jen Soto, that gave Madeline to Stephan and just handed her daughter to Stephan. That's what we're going to talk about, all right? And even Stephan, guys, Stephan's kicking himself for not having said anything, but I still can't understand if he is or was trying to blame it on Maddie, that she was no longer alive. Did she do something, or is he alluding to the fact that Jen was involved? That question may not be answered for some time, but guess what? With patience and some diligence, we'll get the answers that we so desire. We'll get the best that we can, because you know me, I don't stop until I'm done. Even if there's a war going on, I'm still going to go. So let's get to this. This is more than a discussion. It's facts. It's topics that need to be discussed, topics I see you discussing. So I would say, guys, today, take the opportunity while we're streaming to get out what you want to get out, answer any questions. If you have questions, you can super chat, super sticker, or if you don't have the means, you can put QQQ for Jay, and I'll see what I can do to answer those questions. Tomorrow, we're really going to wrap up with Stephan Sterns. I believe I'm going to do a call in show tomorrow. All right. So that you guys can ask the questions that you desire, because after that, we're moving fast and forward. All right. Fast forward. Next case. Anybody that needs help, guilty of crime by j@gmail.com. If you want to get a voice for the people that don't have them, or you're a family member of the victim, aunt, uncle, parent, cousin, teacher, whatever it may be, reach out to me and we will look at the next case. So welcome everybody. Sin, thank you for being here. Tiff, Carly, if you're here, and Foxy, welcome everybody. Welcome. All right, guys, we got a big show today. Worst mother ever. And I know you guys have questions. I've been seeing them. I saw them today in the Thomas video that I cut out. Thomas Karras is the one that led police to Madeline Soto's body and ultimately got Stephan caught. He got Stephan caught because he didn't take no for an answer by law enforcement, and he pushed, and he said, this is what we're doing. We're not going to let this go. This guy looks creepy. He looks evil. He looks like we need to look at him closer. So welcome. Hello, Cynthia. Good to see you. Hashtag arrest Jen Soto. Absolutely. That's what we want to do. But I do want you to know that Stephan is not trying to save her. He's very open about the culpability that I think he has. And I'll read something for you later just so you can see what I'm saying as well. All right. So let's continue. Justice for Maddie. All right. You guys will think of questions. Don't worry. You guys have so many questions. Why wasn't Deb there? What were they doing? And tomorrow we're going to go over the Stephan Sterns case so we can talk more about that. But I'll tell you right now that they did not know that there was going to be a double plea deal. The only one that possibly knew, and for some reason he seems to act like he didn't understand, was Stephan. The parents were not invited into the court. They were given a Zoom link to watch the sentencing and the plea. And the people that were in the court were the people that were the spectators, the media, and the families of the victim. So I just want you to know that when people say, where were they? Why was there nobody there? They didn't know about it. They literally did not know about it. And Deb says to me, I trust you to put out what you need to. I trust that what you're going to say. I just trust what you're going to use in the content that you use. So I'll use it sparingly. Lori M, thank you so much for the $10 Cash App. I appreciate that so very much. All right. Thank you for helping me support the channel. I'm doing a lot of new things on the channel to make sure we're doing the right things on Guilty of Crime. So I'm doing that so that we can have a more solid channel for future victims and you all, which are here, the Guilty of Crime crew. All right. And that's fine. You guys do not have to, have questions. If I can get everything answered, then let's go. I do want to show you, because I have been talking about the Osceola sheriffs and what went sideways, guys. What went sideways with this case? Why did Marcos Lopez and the other officers that were arrested, what did they have to do with this case? And why such a quiet plea deal that just said, bam, we're coming, we're doing a plea, we're sentencing all in one day, only the family is going to know, very hush hush. Why did they do that? Well, we want justice for Madeline Soto too, but I believe law enforcement screwed up. Sheriff Marcos Lopez and his cohorts did some things, and they were intertwined in the case from the get-go, and it got dropped. They got arrested. Osceola didn't want to take the heat, so they went. Now, Peter says, I told you she was innocent, and I'd love to see that. She has not been arrested, but what is she doing? All right, now this is Osceola. This just came out a little while ago, and it's talking about, a sheriff is talking about how this affected the law enforcement, the police force. How did it affect it? And I'm going to speculate that this did affect what happened in the Madeline Soto case with Jen Soto from day one. He didn't understand it was a double plea. Apparently not. I'll read that to you later on. All right. Today we're talking about worst mother ever. And I don't care. I don't care what anybody says. I say she's the worst mother ever for never showing up to anything, for stealing. Yes, I said it. Stealing the GoFundMe $16,000 that was supposed to go to Maddie's funeral. All right. So hashtag arrest Jen Soto. Jen Soto, if we take everything away from what Jen Soto did, she's still not innocent for the neglect, for the DRUG abuse that she put upon her daughter, for the DRUG abuse that she did the whole time. We saw her high AF every day. All right. So let's listen about how this affected law enforcement. It's a quick one, but I want you to know how it affected law enforcement and why I think they crammed all this into a plea deal, didn't do anything with Jen Soto, shut, and move on. A lot of people are still feeling like they're stuck in this case and they didn't get the closure that they need.
Suspended Osceola County Sheriff Marcos Lopez was arrested for a number of charges related to illegal gambling. In his absence, interim Sheriff Christopher Blackman has been at the helm and tonight is joining us live in studio to talk about the transition. Sheriff, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Take us back to that day. After all of that unfolded, you walk into the sheriff's office for the first time. How do you convince county employees that things are going to be different going forward?
I just met with...
All right, remember, if you didn't watch any of my videos about Sheriff Marco Lopez and the racketeering and all the others that got arrested for racketeering and many other crimes, along with his own wife, and how it took them a while to bail out, to have and prove that they had clean money. All right. Yes, they stole a bunch of money. $1.6 million just floating around with cash all in their hands, a bunch of them. All right. So this, in my opinion, affected a lot of things. Now, Grandpa Soto was not there. Grandpa Soto is getting a little bit older. I haven't heard any statements from the case, but I know I'm going to say that I believe that Juan wasn't into what, he didn't want to be involved in it. He's getting older. He's not with Yolanda. Him and Yolanda are not together. All right. So I'm speculating. I don't exactly know where he was, but I'm going to assume that is where he was. Prayers for Tyler. I also want to talk about Tyler as well and make sure people understand that in the beginning of this case, Tyler Wallace, Maddie's father, discussed parental alienation, lawyers fighting him to move him out of Florida. He used to live in Florida and he moved to Texas. He even talks about the money or lack thereof that he had to go and get Madeline Soto anytime he wanted. Now there's 222 people. Please say a prayer that Maddie gets the justice she deserves and that Jen is accountable and at some point gets arrested for the neglect, for the DRUGs, for a lot of things that she admitted to. All right. Good to see you, Lori. Anna Fleming. How you doing? You agree? You disagree? Kissimmee Police would be the lead department and would have jurisdiction. Yes, but police have been moved around is the problem. So Kissimmee Police, they had lead detectives and look at Sheriff Marcos. He was the sheriff. He was the lead and they did not. So you would say he would have jurisdiction, but the jurisdiction has changed. The people have changed in the jurisdiction, Anna, and that's what I'm talking about.
Each section of the sheriff's office.
Again, we can agree to
spoke with them and ensured them that we were taking over and there was no fear of their job going forward. And we would have to look at the sheriff's office in a whole to see what changes need to be made, if any.
What changes do need to be made?
So we made some command staff changes, basically cleaned house, so to speak. We changed the entire structure at the top of the sheriff's office. I brought in 3 people from outside in the major rank, which in our structure, it's sheriff. We have the undersheriff, and then we have the series of majors. So with 3 majors there currently, then we added a position.
So if you listen carefully, he's telling you what happened. Thank you, Cheech Brown, being a member for 15 months. Jen needs to be arrested for something. They did housekeeping in this law enforcement, department, the sheriffs, many other people. They didn't go exactly in and name names and say this person that was in charge of this did this, and they didn't do that. But what he's saying to you is that people that were in command got moved around, changed, fired, arrested, and new people came in. When one investigation lands on somebody's desk and goes to someone else's, they're not so keen to pick that up. All right. So I wanted to say that. Now, somebody asked about who stole what. Can I tell you what? We wanted to raise funds in the Madeline Soto case the entire time. I wanted to raise funds to help them clean up the memorial, to so many things, clean up the memorial, to help Tyler get over to Florida. And I was denied over and over and over. And the reason I was denied the GoFundMe or any form of fundraisers is because Jenn Soto stole the GoFundMe money and just dipped with it and used it for her lawyer fees, in my opinion. All right. So I'm going to show you that GoFundMe that never made it to anything for Maddie. It was for her mom to not be in jail. Foxy Amazon, thank you for the Guilty of Crime membership. And Barb C, thank you for 5 Guilty of Crime memberships. And that's going to be for the Leos, the birthday month, the Cancers. It's July, birthday month. What's up, guys? Hashtag arrest Jen Soto. All right. Yes, Christopher. All right. So let's finish this, and then I'm going to get into all of this.
To that.
What do you hope that will accomplish?
Well, that's going to be accountability top for me. Knowing that I've got new faces and new blood at the sheriff's office, because I wasn't sure how far the corruption may run down through the agency.
How are employees taking this news? Are they receptive to the changes?
Yes. As I was leaving today, I was stopped by a deputy leaving, and he said, I don't know what you've done here, but it's been amazing. In 6 weeks, you flipped this place upside down. The morale is higher than I've ever seen it. I've heard that from a lot of employees, but today, just as we were leaving to come here, the deputy stopped and shared with me that the vision that I have for the agency and for the deputies has been well received, and they're looking forward to going forward and protecting the county like we should.
You know, you have a tough job ahead of you. You don't just have to convince the employees that things are going to be different going forward. You also have to convince the community that you're making changes, that the command is still going to be there for them.
Yes, our mission is that we'll protect everybody. My focus is on kids and the elderly on both ends of the spectrum there. But for the county, the residents, we have asked for an audit, financial audit of all monies, and that's actually underway.
So like I said, they did not get a tree. They didn't go get a family tree and say, this officer did this, and this officer was working on this case, and that person was the lead investigator and interviewed Jen and was in the, nobody did that. Nobody did that. And so, yes, corruption is absolutely right. But how did Maddie get lost in that? How did Jen Soto get lost in the corruption of this? We don't know. Even this whole Stephan Sterns plea deal, we don't know. How did it become to get a no contest on something that was a death penalty that we had so much evidence on, guys? You guys know it as well as I do. There was so much evidence in this case. And yet, why did we take a plea deal when we probably could have got the death penalty for Stephan Sterns? Can you guys tell me that? All right, let's keep going.
It's in place. It's going to be probably a few weeks or months before we get the final product back. But I want to assure all the taxpayers and voters of Osceola.
Yeah, if you guys get a chance, go back to my playlist and take a look at my topics that say how did corruption, or how did the police force, how did they affect this case? Does anyone else want to answer Deborah's question about proven funds being stolen? Now, if you're talking about Jen Soto, that was proven in the very beginning that they raised the funds for Maddie and didn't use them because her services were donated and they cremated her, which is about a hefty, not so hefty $3,000. She raised $16,000 and it was a heavy topic. And yes, it was very proven. Now, if you're talking about this police force, funds were also stolen there. All right. Everything's about absolutely it is.
Osceola County, we're doing the right thing with their money, and justify where the money's at. And if there are any issues, we'll let the county as well as the taxpayers know what's going on with it.
So you will release the findings of the audit?
Absolutely.
And other than that, talk about response times and making sure that you're going to be there for the community in terms of if they need you in an emergency.
Nothing has changed on that. Our response times are actually amazing at the sheriff's office. So there's been no reduction in 911 service. Actually, it's increased because we've got more deputies on patrol. We're in the process of hiring 40 more deputies currently. We've had
What
employees
happened to
that worked
other
at the sheriff's
ones?
office that left because of the last administration. Now they've come back. They reapplied to come back and work for us.
You have 35 years in law enforcement yourself. How are you going to take your experience and transition it to this position now?
It's actually pretty easy. It's just good leadership. And I believe in the golden rule, which is treat others the way you want to be treated. And it's leading.
Right. And everything he's saying is great, guys, but I just wanted you to see that law enforcement and sheriffs and the whole Osceola sheriff interview. What he's saying there is a lot of new people coming on, which means a lot of people got fired. Cats meow. Thank you for the guilty of crime membership. Arrest Jen Soto. All right, I'm going to show you now. So that way people that came in and said, wait, Jen stole what? What did I miss? What happened? Potato S got 16,000. The police stole $1+ million. Absolutely. 1.6 million in cash. All right, so let's stop this because I want to show you, for those of you that came late to the game of me streaming, or anybody for that matter, JRL also did a fundraising, a GoFundMe fraud by Jen Soto. Okay, so this was Madeline Soto. Thank you, Snee. I was just thinking about you. I was looking up old messages, and we messaged each other quite a bit during this. Arrest Dodo Soto. Okay, so I'm glad you're up to speed. Madeline Soto funeral and family expenses. All right. I don't know, at one point they put family expenses, but nobody was okay with that. 16,627 raised for her funeral. It was no longer active a long time ago. And Stephanie Soto, who is Madeline's aunt, Jen's sister, is the one that raised the money. And then they just took off with it and everything else was donated. All right. Everything else was donated. So we were never able to able to donate to Tyler Wallace, to Madeline Soto, to the ladies that kept the vigil area, her spot where she was left. They were not able to use money because of this. All right. Donation protected. This was way back. We're in July. This was 3/7 of 2024. They say, thank you to everyone and the overwhelming amount of support and generosity. We have reached the goal and have paused donations for the time being. There was a funeral home that graciously offered to cover the cost of Maddie's funeral. However, my family and I had made arrangements when the offer was made. On March 6, 2024, our precious Maddie was laid to rest in a private service surrounded by family and close friends. Again, thank you for the support. Thank everyone. Organizer Stephanie Soto, no money was ever given back to anybody. And then Jen Soto showed up with a lawyer. All right. So I just wanted you guys to see that, just in case you didn't believe me, that worst mother ever. What's next for Jen Soto? All right. All right. And I'm trying to answer questions as we go. I'm doing the best I can while I'm reading, but we'll get there. All right, Holly S., thank you for the $4.99 super sticker. Good to see you. All right, now I'm going to pull that down. If you don't believe me that there was 16,000 in fraud and it messed up the entire donation for anything ever, including Tyler, which I would have been happy to donate for him to come out and be here during all of the things that were happening, it was a no-go. Jen Soto is no mother, and she handed that little girl, Maddie, over to Stephan. Stephan said it time and time again. All right, so I'm going to pull this down. I want to show you the Madeline Soto community and what they're up to, because we won't be able to peek in on them much anymore because we won't be covering this case unless something comes up. Worst mother ever. Let's go over to Justice for Maddie page. Beautiful page I've been part of. 12,000 members. I see Tiff over there. That's our merch girl, Tiff True Crime over there. Justice for Maddie. A lot of stuff came up. people are mad. We're going to look at this today. Jen Soto's a monster, pure evil, like Stephan Sterns. The most damning thing she ever said was she saw Maddie get dressed at 8 a.m. that morning, which is literally impossible. There's only one reason she would lie about what happened. She knows exactly what happened to Maddie. And we're going to look at that. We're going to watch her not walk into a courtroom, not give a statement to the killer, Stephan Sterns, that abused her daughter for 6 years, maybe 7. Nothing. She did nothing but look ugly with that stupid face that she has, acting like she didn't know anything. All right. Now, this is the Justice for Maddie community. A lot of people are outraged that she did not make it. Now, I do want you to know that Stephan Sterns has been transferred, which we'll talk about tomorrow. All right. Today, 7/23/2025, Stephan Sterns was transferred to Osceola County Corrections to the custody of the Florida Department of Corrections. All right. If you want more info, you can go to Vine Link or give them a call. All right. So those are the kind of things that get cupped up on. If you want to have real accurate information, they don't accept just anything. It's a private page. You have to post on. All right. So a lot of people are mad that Jen Soto literally did not show up to anything. Watching on Court TV Live, Justice for Maddie. Future was still a lot of creators are putting their stuff on here. But we're going to go over a lot of this today. That's what's left over of the Maddie area. They did clean it up with their own funding. They went and did that. That was awesome. That the ladies are still dedicated to Maddie, the same ones that put the bench in, raise the funds. Cat's Meow, thank you for the $6.99 super sticker. I appreciate all of you guys for the support to help me with the channel. All right, so let's get going. We have a quite a bit of an episode today, and I want to start out with this. I watched this before the court, and guess what? I was wondering if we would see Jen Soto ride up to the courthouse, walk in, even with protection. She could have had protection, but no, worst mother ever. And you know what? You know what else was disgraceful? You know what was disgraceful? I'll give you a hint. Jen Soto, worst mother, disgraceful. She didn't even say a word. And then Yolanda took the role of being Maddie's mom. She literally took the role of being Maddie's mom in court. And I do believe Jen Soto was in the background of the Stephanie Soto call-in where she read her letter. All right. Anna says, I wasn't surprised that didn't go to the courthouse. Shows you that she was involved. She didn't even ever say to Stephan, you son of a bitch, you took my daughter. You took the rest of my life away from me, my one and only baby. Look what you did. You abused her. You documented it, and then you red-rummed her. Not once did she say that. Instead, she tried to get him a lawyer multiple times, and then she lawyered up. You tell me if there's a worse mother that you could think of offhand. She didn't send a statement. Absolutely, she did not send a statement. Was Stephanie Soto in the GoFundMe scheme? Well, listen, Roberta, I don't want to go around blaming people, but Stephanie Soto's name was in the GoFundMe and she collected it on behalf of Jen Soto. So I ask you, was Stephanie in the GoFundMe scheme? And why is she the one that made a statement in court while Jen was in the background on speakerphone? All right, let's keep going. Listen. Here we go. Thank you to JLR. I was watching this. I wanted to see if Jen showed up. Worst mother, Jen Soto, guilty of neglecting Madeline Soto, neglecting her to death.
Ma'am, I know you were just doing your job. Ask a question. Is Jen Soto involved in any way? That's what everybody wants to know because he pled guilty. He pled no contest to murder. Is Jen Soto involved?
How you
Can
doing?
you just say no if she's not involved? Just say no.
And guys, I can't confidently say no. I'm going to lower this a little while he keeps badgering her. I cannot confidently say no. Now, the whole time he's trying to
Is Jen
Hold on. While the whole time he's writing her, asking her about Maddie, of course she doesn't answer. I'm not surprised whatsoever. All right, let's listen a little bit and then I'll tell you. This is what I watched, and I was livid at Jen Soto. She was fine with the pictures. Who? None of this. Just none of this. Jen, Nancy Jean, thank you so much for the $9.99 super chat. Jen had only drive 4 miles to the court, yet all of the Wallace family drove 1,000 miles each way to search, attend the funeral, come back for the memorial, and then for the 1-year anniversary and the trial. All right. Let that make sense about Jen Soto, a mother that fought for her rights when Maddie was little to have the right to raise Maddie in Florida without Tyler. Make that make sense, that she kept Maddie away from Tyler. Make that make sense, that she got custody of Maddie only to hand over Maddie to Stephan. Stephan is not shy, and neither is Deb or Stephan, to talk about Jen Soto, Jen Soto, Jen Soto. Where's Jen Soto? What part did Jen Soto play in it? Where was Jen Soto? Why didn't she say anything? Well, because she's the worst mother ever.
Soto involved? Is she being investigated?
Yeah.
Why no contest? Why not just, hey, I did the crime, I accept responsibility, like he did with the other counts.
Yeah.
He did the other counts. But, you know, a lot of people are going to say Jen Soto's involved, or someone else did it, not him, and he's just taking the rap. Can you comment on that at all? Is Jen Soto involved with the murder of Madeline?
And I want that to try to make sense of that, because no contest is taking responsibility for it only because he did not want the death penalty. That's the only reason. But there was enough evidence to say many things. And yes, Lisa, you're right. Maddie was a paycheck to Jen from little tiny until now. She was a paycheck. She didn't pay for flute or piano lessons more than once or twice, but she collected on it. The little bit of child support that Tyler could put together for her, she took advantage of. She didn't pay for babysitters. She had Stephan to loom over Maddie and abuse her. And then her family, the rest of the time, that would have supported her if she not handed Maddie to Stephan. Worst mother ever.
All right, so that is Stephan Sterns, attorney. You decide. Is Jen Soto involved? Boots on the ground. JLR investigates. Like, no contest to the murder.
All right, let's go a little bit farther. I just wanted you to see
what happened here, how it affected her thoughts on her own daughter, anything, nothing, not a peep, zip,
nope,
silence. Nobody that spoke at court yesterday
mentioned
said anything about Jen Soto. None of the family members of Madeline. They didn't even say to the courts, oh, this has been bad for Jen, or poor Jen has to deal with, losing a child. Nothing. Worst mother ever. It all started out.
And I can tell you that. I don't have to have JLR yell at you, but what I did like was that he was in court, right? And I got to watch that. I got to watch people walk into court where Jen Soto wasn't. So I do like worst mother ever. Let's see what else he has to say.
For sentencing, which is required by Florida law. Hopefully Sterns doesn't use this error as grounds of appeal. And I went on and said defendants have a right to allocution before sentencing. Defendant can speak or not, then judge imposes sentence. That didn't happen yesterday. Judge didn't ask him if he had anything to say. After sentencing, I saw Sterns and attorney whispering. Then attorney asked judge if Sterns could speak, which he did. And he came with this blah, 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 blah nonsense, which everyone in the courtroom was just like, ugh, hurry up, more or less. But yeah, the judge didn't.
You know what else is interesting, guys? The whole time that we were bashing Tyler, people are still bashing Tyler, by the way, because they want somebody to blame. We didn't know that Tyler was planning on having Maddie come live with him at the age of 13. So for all of you that did bash him, just know that Maddie felt like she had a way out when she talked to Tyler, and Tyler said, sure, honey, you can come live with us, because Tatiana did love Maddie, I believe, more than Jen Soto did. Tatiana, if Tatiana broke your heart in court that day, Tatiana broke my heart at the vigil. She was the only one that spoke at the vigil in the family, and she was sobbing. Tyler was sobbing so much he couldn't even talk. Shame on Jen Soto. Shame on that, a lot of that family.
Ask him if he had anything to say, and by law, that is required before sentencing.
Of course they knew, but at any cost, Jen Soto didn't want Maddie to go because that was her paycheck. That's what was keeping Stephan around and coming back. Stephan didn't give two craps about Jen Soto. I'm sure he did, but not the way that he talks about disgustingly loving Maddie. You never once hear him say about Jen, I just love her so much, I want to make sure she's okay. Not once. Yeah, Jen Soto's a coward. She's evil, and she's the worst mother out there. And may she never get peace with what she did in this case.
So I wonder if Sterns is going to use that as grounds of appeal. Let's hope not.
I don't think so.
Let's hope he doesn't appeal.
The judge didn't ask him if he had anything to say.
All right, that we got our own top. We don't need this. We have plenty to cover today. Plenty. So let me share my screen. We'll take a look and talk about why Jen
Where
was
is Jennifer Soto, the mother of 13-year-old Madeline,
and why wasn't she at sentencing? Maybe Maddie was going to live with Tyler. Was Sterns' motive. She would tell her dad on him. Absolutely. Did anyone think of that? Did anybody think of that? Come on, Maddie was feeling good. Maddie was in school for a month, had a new crush. She was off of her medication. Stephan was not there, and she didn't want to go home. She did not want to go home that night or that week. She wanted to stay with Yolanda. Now, Stephan, do you feel like you're her favorite person in the world still? She didn't even want to be with you when she came back. She didn't want to come back. So when Jen Soto's disgraceful, Stephan Sterns says that he was her favorite person in the world. He says that with all confidence, multiple times. I do hope Tyler sues Potato, but he doesn't have the funds is the problem. I feel so bad about that. All right. She was stepping into her power and he couldn't handle it, and nobody talked about that. They just kept going back to Maddie being pregnant or whatever else. I don't think so. Well, we know so now, right? All right. I thought that too. I thought, oh no, Jen Soto's paycheck is gone and her leverage to keep Stephan coming back is over. No, it's not. Jen didn't let that happen. Instead, they took Maddie's life. All right, let's talk about this. I'll try to get the questions. Hit that like button, y'all. Subscribe if you haven't. Get a membership if you can. There's 437 people in here, and I'd love to answer as many questions and backstory as I can tell you. Gringa, thank you for the $5 super chat. Hopefully Jen wasn't there because her lawyer thinks she might be charged. SS, coward, can't admit guilt to his parents, and he did not want his parents to have to see all of that CSAM. That's one thing I said to him is spare Maddie. Please spare Maddie from being further exploited or further victimized. All right. I haven't heard back from him since then. All right, let's keep going. Why wasn't Jen Soto at the sentencing, guys?
Soto noticeably absent from Stephan Sterns' plea hearing.
I think.
And was Brian Koberger stalking those?
All right, we're not going to listen to that. Brian Koberger is
no contest to the homicide.
That Brian Koberger case, I got to say, is wild. The sentencing today, I loved it. I love that they shamed BK. We don't even want to say his name. Call him BK. All right, Cheryl says, someone suggested the reason why she didn't speak or write a statement is because she's possibly going to be charged. And that's what we're going to talk about today. All right. If we're lucky, at some point we will see Jen Soto in shackles, handcuffed, in a courtroom. Let's go. Hello, Carol. Do you think Deb told Stephan to emphasize the God angle in his statement? No, I do not. I'm going to tell you right now, Carol, Stephan has seemed to found God now that he's in jail. But is that just Stephan or is that everybody? No. Deb did not do anything that Deb told him to do. All right. Now, she did emphasize some things to him, like we don't want to see those pictures in court, things like that. And you'll hear about that. I'll read that, but absolutely not. She's not an evil person. She was caught off guard too. And I don't think anyone should go after her for anything, especially after all this it's over. It's over.
That, of course, has the legal effect of a guilty plea, but Sterns was too much of a coward to say that he was guilty of Madeline's murder.
Yep.
And now that he's locked up for life.
But let me just tell you, he seemed very proud of the 60 counts that he did. He seemed like he stood up and said guilty, like he took ownership of what he did to Maddie. And that's disgusting. All right. Yes, he also saved the details from evil getting out to other prisoners. I agree. And I think he's very protective over Maddie. You remember, he wrote that love letter and he owned it. All right, back to Jen Soto, why she wasn't at sentencing. Why didn't she call 911? Why didn't she go to the vigil? Why didn't she go to the memorial? Why didn't she go to the other funerals? Why didn't she make a statement? Why didn't she make a statement over the phone when Stephanie was making one? Why didn't she point at Stephan and say, you motherfucker, you took my life from me? You guys tell me.
If the prison should throw away the key. I say let's forget all about that predator coward and let's focus on another coward, Jennifer Soto.
Yep.
That's right. We have two cowards here. The coward that preyed upon and murdered an innocent child, and his girlfriend, the child's mother, who was apparently too much of a coward to show up at court yesterday. No victim impact statement from her. Where was she? And where was she all of the times that little Madeline was being molested?
Yep.
We know that she allowed her daughter to sleep in the same bed all alone with that sicko.
For years.
And legally, I think that Florida prosecutors very.
And you guys know silence speaks volumes. When somebody doesn't say something, or they say something and then they forget, or they only say part of it and they give you a piece, it says a lot. It says a lot that Stephan said guilty and he owned it. But then the no contest thing. And when he pled no contest and I saw his response after court, I said Jen was totally involved. What he didn't say speaks volumes. All right. Cats meow. Arrest Jen Soto. Hashtag. Thank you so much for the $13.99 towards my birthday month. Thank you. All right. There's a lot today, guys. Let's get it all out.
Well, may have a criminal case of endangering the welfare of a child to bring against Jennifer Soto. Maybe that's why she wasn't in court.
She makes me
My
so
friends,
mad.
as they say, birds of a feather flock together. Two big cowards. May little Madeline Soto rest in peace. That's my opening statement. Let me know if you like it. Right now, it's time for your daily docket.
All right, we're not going to do the daily docket, but we're going to go to where was Jennifer Soto?
Plea hearing.
All right, and I want to make sure Jen Soto was sleeping. Yes, she was. She was sleeping the whole time, apparently. Yes, I do. I absolutely still talk to his parents, and I still talk to Stephan. He has not written me back since he was sentenced, but he's also moving. But he has written back to my mod, and I got to tell you, he's not happy. And yeah, why wouldn't I talk to his parents? I think Deb came strong at me. She came hard at me, and she came very accusing, which was correct because the things that I said about her and Stephan, I owned up to. But with that and all this in the case, it's helped me grow so much in this case, right? In more ways than I can say. And I did not want people sending death threats to two old parents that didn't do that. They didn't do that. Yes, they're still supporting him. For how long? I don't know. I don't know. All right. And Florida has a tough child neglect law. They go to jail for some time. But where's Jen Soto? Why isn't she behind bars?
Pleaded and avoided the death penalty and addressed the court briefly on Monday.
I have nothing but sorrow for her loss. And I miss her all the time.
Thank you.
Her passing has torn me and my family apart as well.
And this is disgusting, but please listen to it so that you can hear how he owns it. How he owns it. And where's Jen Soto? Damn, this makes me sick.
And she truly was a joy.
Makes me sick.
I pray to God that she is in heaven and that he's taking good care of her.
He groomed her to the fullest, guys.
And I hope she gets to join the choir because she had a beautiful voice.
Join the choir because she had a beautiful voice. That's not what you said that night, you mother.
I will miss her all the time.
Yeah, you do. We know.
I will never not honor her memory. And I apologize for all the pain.
The judge sentenced.
And he didn't say, I apologize for the pain that I inflicted on Maddie. Not once did he ever say that, because I do think, you guys, I do think that he still feels like he owns Maddie. He owned her in life, and then he took it, right? He does not say her name, but I don't care if he says her name or what he says. He should say, he should own how he abused her, and I don't think he feels like it's abuse. I think in his sick mind, guys, he thinks he was in a relationship with Maddie. Don't shoot the messenger. I'm just telling you, all of the time I've ever talked to him, all of the messages I've ever read, he sounds like he's in a that he was in a relationship with her. He groomed her till the end, included in his statement, Jay, and that I agree. All right, let's keep going. Where's Jen Soto, guys?
Him to concurrent life sentences for the sex crimes and for the homicide. We're wondering this morning, what is going to happen with mom Jennifer Soto? Will he see her again?
Yeah.
And will the next time we see her be in criminal court? Let's bring in our legal eagles now. With me, attorneys William Ehlenfeld and Matt.
Yeah, we're going to hear about some of this. And somebody asked earlier about the Jen Soto one-time queen for the day deal. That's all it was. Okay, so she only got a one-time immunity. She had an interview. If she didn't lie, they wouldn't use it against her. She lied. So I hope that something comes back, because she did lie. She did exploit Maddie, and you can see it. I wonder if they've gone through her transactions. Jay, his is the third live. My chat is being deleted. What? Jay, his is the third live. My chat is being deleted. What? Here, let me play this while I try to figure out what you're saying, Ashton.
After you, Tim Panic. So great to have you both here this morning. All right, Jennifer Soto. My blood boils, as you both can see, talking about this woman. And we have a lot of our courties at home that feel very strongly that Jennifer Soto has some criminal liability here. Will we see her charged? I want some predictions. And Matt, Tim Panic, you are in the state of Florida. That's where you.
So, Ashton, there's certain words that can't be said in my chat. So it may be the words that I don't allow. But I don't think anybody's deleting. I hope nobody's deleting your comments, but I have certain keywords that I don't let anybody put. So let's see. Keep on chatting. Oh, please, Mary J. No apologies necessary. You wouldn't be good at what you did if you refused to talk to the people you're covering. You rock. Thank you so much for that, guy. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, please, Mary. And everybody else that's in chat that does support me on a daily basis, because I do get hate and I do get kickback. Ashton Lee, there's more spice. There is spice. It's just you can't say like RAPE or certain words that I can't have in my chat. Thank you. Thank you. Just thank you. All right. You think Jen's in a psychiatric hospital or detox center? Meep. That would be awesome if she was somewhere, but I don't think that's the case. I think she's still with Stephan Soto, being the piece of trash that she's always been, in my opinion.
Practice. I'm going to begin with you. Your thoughts, please.
Me too.
I think we're going to. I think the upcry from her basically skating is just too deafening if it were. When you look at what was actually the
now, Barb, let me tell you, Barb Murray and everybody else that doesn't agree with me corresponding with Stephan Sterns or his parents, you guys are going to agree with me when I come out with some shocking information that nobody else has, and I find out what happened, why it happened, and how to prevent this happening in the future. I'm only corresponding with them for knowledge, for me, for you, for my own personal life, for others, to teach them what I've learned. I'm not corresponding with them because I want to know the gossip. I don't give a shit about gossip. I want to report on facts and information. If you notice, I was not, and thank you for supporting and respecting me. I was not reporting on stuff that didn't happen. I never went in and started supporting on fake extortion that I knew wasn't happening. Stephan was not extorted, but he will be when he gets to prison. Those were his friends. They were just as sick as him in another cell, and he wanted to make nice with them. But I'll tell you, he was not extorted for coffee. And I know because I talked to him and his family the entire time. Then it kept my channel from reporting shit that wasn't true because I knew what was happening. That's why I do it, for knowledge and to teach people what I'm learning. And I pose my questions in a way that we all can learn something. All right. Thank you, Barb. I appreciate you. God is absolutely good. God's the only thing, that has gotten me through life for the last almost 46 years. So thank you. All right, let's keep going.
Allegations in this case, they are just disgusting. They are despicable. They're unforgivable.
Right.
And for this woman to allow that man into her daughter's life and to eventually take that life and then being able to plead no contest, just for the audience's edification, in the state of Florida, you can plead no contest, which says that there's enough evidence to prove the case, but I'm not saying I did it. But it's also on the judge. The judge can decline to accept a no contest plea. So I'm definitely shocked that the judge allowed the defendant to, in fact.
That too, Ashton, that too. I want to tell you that. But yet those same creators bash others because they wish they had the inside interview. And I don't care about that, guys. I just want the truth. That's all I want in life. That's all I want on this channel. That's how I am in my day-to-day. If it's nonsense, I don't want to hear it. I just want the truth. Kawasaki, thank you so much for the $9.99 super sticker. And Synth, Jay's favorite mod. Nope, he's in software QA, just a hardcore nerd. And I'm going to show you guys later on a Foxy box. Not a Foxy box, I'm sorry. A Synth box that was sent over to me. I'm going to unveil it. This is my 20-year anniversary on a cookie, and I'll show that to you later. And I'm going to show you the things that you might get if Synth sends you her snail mail. All right, that's going to be at the end of the episode, so stay here for the entire episode.
Plead no contest to a murder charge. That never happens.
Oh, Matt Timpanic,
Right.
Thank you so much for that. That's some really great perspective. That's very helpful because boy, did it make me mad. I was shouting coward at my TV when I was watching that. He couldn't even utter the words, I'm guilty. William Ehlenfeld, let me go to you next, please. You've seen a lot in your career. If you had to bet here, what do you think we're going to see with Jennifer Soto?
Nothing.
Good morning, Julie. Yeah, Jennifer's silence speaks volumes. The fact that not only did she not make a victim impact statement yesterday, she didn't even show up. And it was notable that all of these other family members and friends showed up and made very impactful statements at yesterday's sentencing hearing and plea.
And I want you guys to know, if you go back and you watch that, pay attention that right off the bat, Yolanda took responsibility as Maddie's parent. They didn't even discuss Jen Soto. And like this guy said, she didn't even bother to show up. She didn't even bother to show up, guys. She didn't bother to do anything. She didn't bother to take care of Maddie. She only bothered to get a check. When someone sent her a check, deposit into her account, and to sell pictures of Maddie. And all of that stuff, I believe she was 100% involved in, and she profited off of her daughter. And silence speaks volumes, guys. It really does. Pay attention.
Hearing, yet she was nowhere to be found. So I think, in many cases like this where you have a spouse or a girlfriend who might have some criminal exposure, she might have an attorney who's advising her, look, it's not in your best interest to show up at that hearing because, all you can do is hurt yourself. Certainly, if you make a statement, you could potentially be used against you later on. So, I've prosecuted many cases involving child abuse, creating risk of injury, or child abuse resulting in death. And so I think there's a lot of evidence here based upon what you just laid out. The fact that she allowed her daughter to have so much contact with him, knowing what he was doing. I think all signs are pointing towards charges against her. And it's just a matter.
And I want you guys to hear that. All signs are pointing to her being arrested, guys. So many things. What's up, Clark? Good to see you, my friend. Jen's name wasn't even mentioned. It's like she didn't even exist. All right. So if that is to give you a sign of the times of what might happen, there's a good possibility they're still looking at Jen Soto, guys. That should give you guys a little bit of solace and a little bit of hope that whole time that we spent, arrest Jen Soto. Jen Soto's a bad mom. Why isn't she arrested? Hashtag arrest Jen Soto. That we didn't do that for nothing, that it was not in vain. There's no way they don't have enough evidence, Barb Murray says, and that's what we're talking about right now. Even if it's circumstantial evidence, it's there. But there's more than that, guys. I'll tell you that right now.
Time before the state of Florida brings those.
Always great predictions from you, William
ding,
and Matt.
Ding, ding.
Thank you both for that. Let's take a look back at some of what she said. We know that we've got her.
All right, we're going to listen to some of what she said. I know I'm talking a lot. I have a lot to say. But Deborah, I got to tell you, I was having a conversation about Maddie. I've had a lot of conversations about Maddie behind the scenes. And the first person that didn't know anything about the case said to me, that little girl did not have she was not autistic, and I bet you she didn't even have ADHD. I bet you that was all from the trauma that was impacted and imposed on Maddie, and how she was made to fill the shoes of Jen Soto's sex life. Instead of having to sleep with Stephan, she made her daughter do it, and all the other stuff, places that we don't even want to talk about, that he put his body parts on her body. The evidence that was on her chest the night that she was no longer alive. Everybody that I've talked to doesn't even know the case, says that little girl did not probably have ADHD, and she definitely wasn't autistic. It's from the trauma that they inflicted on her. And that was a huge question that I asked the ex-roommate, and they said she was not autistic. They were mad that she even called Maddie autistic. What a shitty light to put that little girl in when she didn't have it. If you have autism, that whatever, that's all good. But why do parents nowadays seem to call their children autistic when something happens to them? It's because of the abuse and the trauma, and they want it to make sense to us why their children are so quiet and don't say anything and sleep in class and have all this shit. They want to blame it on them. That's victim blaming. Tiff Knox, good to see you, my friend. All right.
Speaking to police numerous times, there's body camera footage, interrogation room footage. Let's take a quick look back at some of what Jennifer Soto shared.
At any time during the course of your relationship, has he expressed that he's ever had sex with a child?
Good question.
Not a child, but when he told me when he was in high school, he graduated high school like later, like older than 18.
Okay.
He dated.
Listen, she already knows that he essayed Maddie for years. She already saw the picture, and listen how she's talking. She's not just dumb, but she's evil. She's calculating, and in my opinion, she's the puppet master. Who strangled Maddie? You know what I asked Stephan? I asked Stephan a pointed question, and you know what he told me? He didn't give me a pointed answer. Stephan answers things the way Stephan wants to answer things, and one of the things that he answered was he had to break up many physical fights from Maddie and Jen Soto. I alluded to, I didn't give a pointed question because he couldn't answer, but I asked about that. And that was the answer he gave me, was they got into physical fights and he had to break them up. What does that mean? And Jen told us she's a watcher. What does that mean? More evil than stupid. I agree.
Somebody younger than 18. I think she was 15.
Did it start there or did it start sooner? Who knows with this guy? Matt Timpanic, tell me, having been a Florida prosecutor, you're a criminal defense attorney there now. What charges specifically under Florida law do you think Ms. Jennifer Soto could potentially be hit with here?
I think the most serious offense that could be is potentially aggravated child abuse. And the reason is that this individual, this defendant, allowed a individual that she knew to be essentially a deviant, potentially a violent person into her home and be with her child. And it just seemed like from the very get-go of this case, that is like, you're not telling us everything, are you? And as a defense attorney, yeah, my advice is don't say anything. But as a human being, it's like, how could you possibly allow this?
Yeah, trust me, I only bring the stuff to you, Lisa, that I really feel like I'm getting from the conversation. So, of course, I remember that every second that I talk to anybody, that they lie and they manipulate. But like I said, I didn't get a pointed answer. The answer I got came from something else. I don't believe that he was lying about the fact that Maddie and Jen had physical fights. I believe that. Did he lie about many other things? Yes, he did. But I'm constantly assessing you, them, everybody that's in my presence. I constantly assess what I believe and what I don't. And that's you're right, and you're right, and you're right, and everybody's right to know what or think what, who's lying about what. So you guys can take what you want from anything and understand that. That's what I do. Simple. All right.
This man anywhere close to your child. And I think that she's lucky she could get away with something like aggravated child abuse, because I just don't see the state of Florida, I believe it's Osceola County, if I have the courtroom correctly, letting this go, because her conduct was just too egregious. And it's not a situation where we're like, well, we're going to allow you, your conduct was, we're not going to condone it, but we're not going to charge you at the same time. I just don't see that happening.
Matt, thank you so much for that. Madeline Soto's biological father was there at the plea hearing, did deliver a victim impact statement. Let's take a listen back together to that now.
You're depraved. You're weak. You're a coward. You're a sneak thief. You crept into a family and took advantage and exploited them when they were weak. We're all on edge because it doesn't heal with time.
I can get those, Amy Brady. I can get the calls without the FOIAs. That's the thing. So awesome. We love Grizzly True Crime. I don't always want people to come in the chat and be like, hey, go over to this channel while I'm streaming. I appreciate Grizzly. So, but yes, I can get the phone calls on a FOIA, or I can get the phone calls because I'm on the calls. We'll see what happens. We'll see what, stay tuned. Arrest Jen Soto. She's evil. Tyler never wanted to be with Jen like that. She got pregnant, and Jen fought for Maddie, in my opinion, so that she could have the money, she can have a meal ticket, and she did. That's what she did with Maddie. And made Tyler Wallace get some peace in his life. He says he's not right now. He says that it's getting rougher. Man, I don't know how he contained himself being next to Stephan.
This isn't like other deaths that I've experienced. This just gets worse. It just gets worse every time I rethink about it and the true horror of what this man visited upon her. And I can only hope that he lives a long time in prison and has those same horrors revisited upon him by his fellow inmates.
Oh my gosh, I agree with everything Dad said there. William E. Linfeld, I want to turn to you here. You've had such a long career being such a great champion for victims, a prosecutor at the state level, then a United States attorney twice, 2 terms you served there. You've done so much for so many people.
You know, I know we want to always have somebody to blame, and you know, I love you. We can agree to disagree. If you knew some of the things that I knew that happened, yeah, he should have put a reminder to call her. He has his own mental health problems, and there's no excuse, but I don't think Tyler was the one that failed Maddie. I think Jen Soto was the one that ultimately failed Maddie. And then when she handed Maddie over to any guy that would take her, that happened in that. But yeah, what is happening? Why is there people in here saying F you BJ in my chat, guys? What happened? All right. So I love you, Carr, but I'll agree to disagree with you. I don't know why there's someone in my chat doing that, but that's not okay, guys. Don't do that. We're talking about justice for Maddie. That's super rude for someone to come in here and talk about another creator right now. Come on, guys. Have some tact. Have some grace to yourself. All right, let's keep going. That's ridiculous.
When you hear Dad there in the courtroom, tell us about some of the things you're thinking about the dynamic that was perhaps at play there in this home where his daughter was living with her mom and mom's despicable boyfriend.
That's what you expect a parent to say, is exactly what we heard from the father there. And then you've got the mother who doesn't even bother to show up and make a statement. And so, I can't imagine being that father, knowing that occurred. And he probably has so many feelings going through his body. And we heard some of that right there in the courtroom. But parents are supposed to protect their children. And that's what the mother of this child failed to do. Jen Soto failed to protect this child. So, it's just so heartbreaking.
She didn't just fail, guys, to protect Maddie. She went out of her way to use Maddie to get housing, to get money, to get income for her extracurricular habits. And I know because everybody has said so. All right. Everybody said so. And where is Jen Soto? Where is she? All right. And don't worry, I got it. It probably came through here, but it's just super rude. Yeah, I go into BJ's chat sometimes and they probably don't like that because I'm like, hey, I don't like bullying. All right. I don't put up with bullying. So don't come to my channel. And we're talking about Maddie Soto, a victim. Yeah, she sent her child to go to bed with a grown man so she couldn't sleep. And what about the times that she was flirting? Jen and Maddie were together flirting with Stephan. Now that could be a lie, possibly, and maybe in his sick head, but it doesn't fall too far from reality of what happened. I'll tell you that. Oh, I'll tell you guys in chat. I don't want to be sidetracked. It's a creator, Indy. It's just ridiculous. I don't get harassment like that. I don't get it.
To hear him make those statements, to feel his pain, and I know he probably wishes he could have and could have done more to protect his daughter, but he was unable to. So I just can't imagine what he's feeling right now. And I do hope that, certainly Mr. Stern is going to have a target on his back for decades in prison. And in many ways, that's worse than the death penalty. The fact that he committed these crimes that aren't going to be viewed very well inside the walls of a Florida prison for the rest of his life. And so I think that, justice is being served with this defendant, and hopefully there will be justice when it comes.
Now, I'm wondering where this is coming from, Heidi B. A lot of people do say that Jen Soto's in a psychiatric facility, but that was in the beginning. I don't think she's there now, and I cannot imagine that she's even in a psychiatric hospital, and we can't do anything to find out because of HIPAA laws. So if anybody is in that area and you have heard something or saw something, let me know. Reach out, guiltyofcrimebyj@gmail.com. I wonder if Maddie said anything to Jen about going to live with her dad. I bet she did, and I bet it caused a fight. She didn't even want Maddie to go with Tyler when she was going to take that last plane ride. And remember, Jen said, I don't want Maddie going there on a plane because I don't want someone looking under the door and taking pictures of her daughter. And then come to find out, Stephan was taking pictures of Angelica Negro, the roommate, Jen's friend. All right. Listen, I'll tell you who BJ is. BJ has a channel. It's what is BJ's channel? Allegedly, in my opinion, or something like that with BJ. So it's another creator. Sometimes I pop on there and say hi to chat. So maybe that's why they came at me, but please don't come in my chat about BJ. This is not the place or the time. I don't sit there. I'm not fighting for it. I just don't accept bullies. All right, let's keep going. Coincidence? There's no coincidences in true crime, my friend. And I know you're being facetious by saying that.
To Jen Soto down the road.
Boom, drop the mic right there. William Ehlenfeld, excellent points. Thank you so much for that. We'll leave the segment here for now. I'm so glad we have both of you gentlemen coming with us for more opening statements. Friends at home, go refill your coffee. Here's what's coming up next.
Obviously, losing my sister has been.
All right, so we're going to stay on. Where is Jennifer Soto? I can't see this, though. I don't want
to. Was he... Kohlberger will learn.
All right, is that it for this? Trending in true crime, missing the sparks. All right, so now it goes into the Idaho. I guess that's it for the Jen Soto.
Really tough. And
all right, I didn't even get to watch that all, so there we go. What else do I have on Jen Soto? There's a lot. There is a lot. So I think that's it.
And emotional, and but watching my parents go through that was some of the hardest stuff.
Amy Bradley went missing 30 years ago on a cruise ship, and her family still affected by her disappearance. It's a mystery that still hasn't been solved, but a brand new Netflix documentary is hoping to shed some light on the case. And we're breaking down the first possible encounter between killer Kohlberger and victim Maddie Mogan.
I just want to make sure I didn't miss anything on her. Grandma Stacy says, you got to wonder if all the media coverage about Jen, if it put pressure on the cops to do something. And Holly S., you know who I'm talking about with BJ. You're always in BJ's chats. I'm not sure if you're a mod or not, but crazy, man. All right. We don't even want to focus on all of that. It's wild, but I'm going to put up a picture of Maddie, and then we're going to talk about what happened before and after. I'm just not going to read them. I'm not going to put the emails up. All right, let me take a look.
Was he stalking her? We'll talk about it coming up. Kohlberger will learn his fate.
I guess that's it. All right, did anybody watch this? Right, that would be it.
Statements.
All right, we're gonna stop. All right, let's put Maddie up and let's talk about this. We're an hour and 12 minutes in. I still need to show you guys the synth thing, but right now we're gonna do some questions, and I'm gonna tell you what led up to this. And I do want to tell you, I do not. I do not have phone calls recorded. I'm not even sharing messages. I'm not reading them. I mean, I'm reading them. I'm not sharing them. I just kind of want to let you guys know what led up to this. And I feel like the Sterns family, we'll say Chris and Deb, I feel like it was a blow. I want to tell you right now, they did not know. And I don't know if that was designed into the plan. But yeah, Deb Sterns says, for the record, I didn't know until yesterday that the plea was for both trials. So no, the family was not invited. And I still believe that there's fingers pointed at Jen Soto. All right, so this was Monday. Let me just read a couple things to you. That Stephan's thoughts. Again, I'm not going to share it on here. Let's see. Okay, so listen, I want you guys to hear some of these things that you can't get anywhere else. All right, so I'm going to read some of the things that were on Sunday night that led up to the plea deal, to Jen not being there, to Jen not getting charged, and why I feel like it was a sideswipe. Now, you say 13th birthday. I want to know what you guys are talking about. Maddie's 13th birthday. Stephan wasn't there. The family doesn't like him. Jen wasn't there. Well, her family didn't even really like her and her decisions before, and that's why her and Stephan didn't go. All right, now Chris Sterns is okay. Chris Sterns is okay. Deb has bigger health problems than Chris does. Deb had heart surgery a year before this happened, and then a few months ago she had valves replaced. So hopefully Chris and Deb can get back on with their life and continue to live into their 70s and not be harassed or not get death threats after this goes over. Now, yeah, Jen could not even go to her 13th birthday party. Little Red, good to see you, my friend. All right. You think they all knew. Who's they all? All right, let's talk a little bit about this, guys. Let's talk about what led up until the plea deal and what were they saying? Were they pointing fingers at Jen? Were they pointing fingers at Jen Soto because they wanted to take the heat off of Stephan? Or was it because it was really about Jen Soto? All right, before I read anything, Anna says it could be that if Maddie was going to live with her dad, could have gotten SS, mental, jealous of her if she was leaving. He wanted one more time and he couldn't. Maddie, Tyler is going to have her. It's a good possibility that we only knew about now. I'll keep that up there. Why is Jen hiding? Well, maybe because all eyes are on Jen. Even the news stations are pointing at Jen Soto and saying that there's a possible arrest on the horizon. All right. And again, you guys don't have to believe anything that Stephan or Deb say. You can take it with a grain of salt and get what you need out of it. Totally feel like the grandmother knew, low key as well. I don't think she knew. I don't think Yolanda knew. I think her bat, the bat signals, her senses were going off about Stephan, and she didn't want him there. All right. In the interview, she mentioned sending them to the room together. Was that the night before this happened or a different time? That was absolutely the night that Maddie went missing and was no longer with us. All right. That's a good possibility, Blondie. It's a good possibility that we did not know until now. All right. I do see BJ on that surprise witness. That's odds she and Chad are bullish. She was always reads the docket filings, but we'll see if the mods don't moderate chat. I'm not sure what that means, but all right, let's listen to what led up to that. I would like to actually share. I'd like to share my screen on this one. This was awesome. Hold on, let me see if I can find it. I'll look for it in a minute. I wanted to put up a picture of of Jen, the evil Jen Soto, right? Madeline, hold on. Let me look at something real quick and then I will get back to this. Where is a picture of Jen Soto? The evil Jen Soto, right? We've done so many episodes. It's so weird to be coming to an end on all of this. All right, I can't find it right this second. I want to read you some things that led up until the court date. All right. Yeah, Tyler didn't mention moving in when she was 13. Makes me question it. Tyler didn't say much. He was pretty shell shocked, guys. All right. All right, this one. All right, let me tell you. Okay, so Stephan Sterns, this was still on Monday. This isn't even leading up until, this is not even, I mean, there's a lot of messages. Okay, that's July 21st on 9:31. I wanted to go back a little bit before. All right. So look, now Stephan's mad. This is not. We're gonna cover Stephan and what happened tomorrow. We're gonna cover everything that we need to that happened. I'm gonna go over the documents of what's going to happen. We're gonna talk about him missing, about him being transferred, etc. Hi Jay, miss you all. Jen Brick, we miss you too. She's like a sloth. Hashtag arrest Jen Soto. It is an over. We will be hearing about Jennifer Soto here before too long. I'm sure everyone will speak it into existence. Why wasn't he charged for filming the roommate? Because they did not make that a charge in the case. He was facing the death penalty, and then he already had 60 other charges. They didn't want it. They didn't need to do that. All right. There's a lot of things that I don't agree with that they did or didn't do, but I do want to tell you one thing. I want to tell you that after this happened, and I'm just going to read this. I'm not going to read everything that led up into it. I just want to read what Stephan said. All right, now listen. He says this was July 21st at 7:44 p.m. This is right after everything happened. And he says, hey, well, I did what you said I should do because it's what you and my team said I should do, and that was awful. I didn't know I would have to sit there and listen to all that. And did you notice how someone was conspicuously absent from all forms of the proceedings? Do you hear that? Who are we talking about? Who's the most evil mother? Who's the worst mother on this planet? Who do you guys think the worst mother on this planet is? And why is Stephan talking about her and her being absent? Like I said, it's the things he doesn't say. Yeah, he talks about Siesta Soto, but he doesn't say Siesta Soto, but they do talk about her so much leading into the plea deal. I think not only did Jen Soto, was she left out of it on purpose, but they were initially saying, Jen Soto, do you remember the first emails came out? And we heard, why isn't Jen Soto being charged? Did you hear the way Deb said Jen Soto and how she's pointing the finger? I wonder what she had to do with it. Well, guess what? He definitely leaves her name out here, but he does, to take the blame off him. And I assume that from the beginning. But when I hear this from Stephan, I'm like, what part did she play in this? And why aren't you talking? And before I even read it anymore, you know why I believe he wasn't talking? Is because Jen Soto and Stephan Sterns had a pact about that little girl when she was a little girl, when she was 7 years old, and she was sitting on Stephan's, sitting on his shoulders, and she was holding Stephan like this in their game of chicken in the pool. She was very uncomfortable. Well, Stephan and Jen groomed Maddie since day one, and they had a pact about the grooming. They had a pact about what she would allow with Maddie, how she would allow, the filming that she would allow, so she would gain benefits financially and otherwise to have control of Stephan Sterns. All right. So Maddie does deserve the truth. And let me just tell you what, if this is right after sentencing and he's saying, I didn't know I'd sit there and listen to all that. And did you notice how someone was conspicuously absent in all forms from the proceedings? He says, I hate this. He also talks about Yolanda and the fact that Yolanda calls Maddie mama. He says that, and I don't know if I believe this at all. He says that Yolanda imposed that on Maddie, which is weird to say because Jen wasn't taking care of Maddie at all. She was handing Maddie over to any guy that would give her attention. Do you remember she tried to let Maddie sleep with Steven, her ex-husband, the other Steve? All right. And Barbie G, good to see you. I want you guys to know what I'm talking about and ask questions if you can. I'm reading text messages from smartinmate.com from Stephan Sterns right after he was convicted. I have the message before he was convicted, many messages before, and then I have the messages after of him being convicted, alluding to the fact that he did not do that by himself and he was surprised about it. All right. Again, it's sometimes what people don't say. Now, Tiff is here in chat. Tiff is one of our mods. She's also the merchandise person. He went straight to Tiff and vented to her after this session of a plea deal. All right. And Tiff, I want to ask you here in chat, did he bring up Jen's name again? Or did he just allude to someone wasn't there? I want to know. I want to know that because he sure didn't come to me to say that because I had already talked to him about not letting people exploit those pictures that he took of Maddie and showing the whole court them. What's up, Tracy? How you doing? All right. So, Tiff, let me know when you're around. There you are. Yes, he brought up the potato. All right, I'll leave that up there while I talk to you guys. We're going to come out with all of these eventually. All right. Norma says, I'm still in shock and confused as to why he won't flip on the other demon. Well, I hope you understand, Norma, that I just gave you 1,001 reasons why he didn't flip on the demon, because she knew about all of the sex crimes that were inflicted on Maddie, because she was part of the pact. She wasn't just part of the pact. In my opinion, she was the puppet master of the pact. How many times has Jen been married? That's a good question, guys. We've dug into the past. I think she was only married to Stephen. She was not married to, she was definitely not married to Tyler. That was a, oops. That was a, we had an affair. I cheated on Tatiana. Oops. Maddie was born. And then Jen said, I have a meal ticket. How many times? I think she's only married once, guys. All right. He's never getting out, Cecilia. He's never getting out alive. All right. Your comments are here, my friend. Let me read these real quick. Let me read what led up or after this. I'm not going to read what led up. I will read that tomorrow in the episode about the killer, Stephan Sterns, the convicted. All right. I did not see Steven there. Barbie, thank you so much for the $4.99 super sticker. You guys know it's birthday month for me as a Leo, and for all the Cancers, the rest of the Leos. It's birthday month eventually, right? July 23rd and on. All right, now let me read this to you afterwards. So this was July 21st, 7:44 p.m. after the conviction, after the plea, after the sentencing, I should say. Well, I did what you said I should do. Now he's writing this to Deb and Chris, because it's what you and my team said I should do, and that was awful. I didn't know I'd have to sit there and listen to all that. And did you notice how someone was conspicuously absent in all forms from the proceedings? I hate this deal, and I should have fought. If only I had gotten to tell how things really happened, whether anyone believed me or not, whether I can prove it or not. I will never be glad I took this damn deal. That damn judge nearly tried to alter the deal and insist that I plead guilty to the capital M. He spells it out. If he had done that, I would have told him where to stick that deal. I will never claim guilt for that, ever! Exclamation mark. And to hear everyone talk about it when they had no clue what actually happened, because Stephan was there and he knows. I'm tired, he says. I'm mentally and emotionally exhausted, and I'm feeling sick in my heart all over this. And I just have to lay down and accept it? What a farce this whole damn process has been. I was never going to receive a fair trial. The judge made damn sure of that himself. I hope this at least brings you both some peace in your lives and gets people to move on and find other folks to harass and stalk. Make sure if any of these YouTubers keep trying to find you and use their platforms to encourage or enable other people to harass you as well, make sure you file charges for harassment and cyber stalking. I gave the state everything they wanted, and I gave up an ability to try and change it or fight ever. That's it. Sweet fucking deal, huh? But hey, at least now I get to live long in a miserable life while my family dies one by one with nothing I can do about it, as I just while away the years waiting to die alone and finally be free of this bullshit world. That's it. If I don't die early in a violent, painful, and messy death that would make the state execution seem to be so much better by comparison. At least I'm not bitter about it, right? I'm glad you were there in spirit. I'm sorry you had to hear all the statements. Maybe now at least I can get some better food than this dog shit they serve in Osceola. Speaking of which, is there any commissary order tonight, or will that be Thursday? And did you happen to order a hot plate meal for me this week? I can really use some comfort food. Anyway, right back soon. Love ya. All right, I'm going to let you guys hear before that. This was them deciding, and I just want you to know, first of all, there's 555 people in here. You know what 555 means, right? I know you didn't forget 555. It's our angel number. Maddie's our angel. Say a prayer that Jen Soto gets arrested and charged for the things that she did. Vanny says, Jay, do you think Sterns will talk? Also, his mom had mentioned a while back that there may have been a struggle. We're going to go back. We're going to go back and we're going to listen to before he was convicted. I'm going to read a little bit for you. That question you just asked, I love that question. Will Sterns talk? He's already talking. He's already been talking to me. He's been talking for months. Do I think he's going to talk? Abso-freaking-lutely he's going to talk. Who's he going to talk to? His parents and me, and possibly Tiff. He's already been talking to. And by the way, Tiff didn't strong arm her way in and make up fake accusations to get on the Stephan Sterns list. She told the truth about who she was and why she was there. Just gives you a little insight, guys. Tell the truth, stick to it, and you'll never have to think about your lies catching up to you. How about that? All right. Since Jay's favorite mod gifted 5 guilty of crime memberships. Thank you. 555, prayer that Maddie gets the justice she deserves. Indy Isham, you're a smart girl, Jay. The whole way you've handled this, super kudos. Thank you. I appreciate that. I was very new at YouTube when I started, and I did the best I could with what I had. Right now, we're looking to grow and expand on the channel and to grow as a person. So thank you. All right, give me memberships, please. Congratulations, new members. All right, I'm going to read something else to you. I'm going to read right before. And I tell you this, I'm reading you this because I want you to know that they didn't know about the plea deal. I didn't know about the plea deal. I was guessing. And I was guessing because of what Deb was saying and what Stephan was talking about. Truth never changes, only lies, facts. All right, you got it going, girl. It's good to see you in green. All right, let's give some memberships and get some of these people, get them to green. All right. Grows as a learn, and it humbles me greatly, Lil Red. I have been humbled. I've got a smack in the face, and that's not why I was humbled, but I have had a couple smacks in the face. All right, let me read this before. All right, so this is 10:03 a.m. from Deb to Stephan Sterns, July 21st, that morning. Or is this Stephan? Let me see. Hold on. Let me read this. It says, hey, I guess I have to decide. Okay, it is. It's Stephan. This is what we want to hear. Hey, I guess I have to decide what to do. I spoke with Alicia this morning. Now, you guys will notice, pay attention to the names. All right. If Jen was the mastermind, that coward would have given her up for a lighter sentence, but he did. He didn't get the death penalty, Amy. Let me read this before you make judgments about this. All right. Where was Jen Soto? Why was she not convicted? And will she be? Listen to this message. All right. Hey, I guess I have to decide what to do. I spoke with Alicia. That's Stephan's legal team. It was a hard conversation. Basically, it's going to be very difficult to prove anything I say, and the laws have changed to give every advantage to the state. It seems there's no defense I can offer that can be plausibly proven to help. And for whatever reason, Jen, evil mother Jen, listen, guys, listen. This is the last message I'm going to read you. And the reason I'm reading this is because worst mother ever, Jen Soto. What's next for her? She's guilty, in my opinion. Is she going to get charged? Listen to this. All right. Listen from what Stephan's saying. Now, he lies. He alludes to facts. He alludes to truth. He's delusional. But there's still a bit to say about what happened here. And where's the invisible spud? He says it's going to be difficult to prove anything I say. All right. It seems there's no defense that I can offer to be plausibly proven to help me. And for whatever reason, Jen the Potato Soto has managed to duck any charges so far. But apparently, the state has been looking for some way to charge Jen with something. Do you hear that? I don't think he'd be saying that if that weren't a truth and if his defense team wasn't telling him that. Do you understand that? Hashtag arrest Jen Soto now. Darlene, good to see you. Do you hear that? This is not him pushing it on to Jen to take the culpability. He took it whether he wanted it or not. Okay? This is his legal defense and him talking. But my word alone would not count for squat anyway. Listen, they're looking for some way to charge Jen Soto with something. The injury that the medical examiner talked about could possibly have occurred in several ways. If you guys were here, then you know, what did the medical examiner say happened to Madeline Soto? He said that Madeline Soto was strangled and asphyxiated and her hyoid bone was broken. It takes 2 to 5 minutes to strangle or asphyxiate someone, and it takes 60 pounds to break a hyoid bone. Okay? All right, now let's listen to this. All right, it's over. He's pled. He's not getting a death penalty. He's going to be in there forever. All right? Apparently, the state's been looking for a way to charge her. The medical examiner talked about what could have possibly occurred in several ways, but it's an issue of possible versus probable versus reasonable. And possible just isn't enough, from what I'm being told, to establish reasonable doubt. Now we're talking about a trial here. And the medical expert my team consulted is unwilling to offer to explore any potential alternative theories or to pick apart what the medical examiner report to poke any holes in that theory. I don't know what I'm going to do yet, but I'm being strongly urged to just lay down with this. I hate that, but it's where we are. I've been arguing this and that, and I'm exhausted, and my team just keeps shooting me down anyway. I guess I'll make my decision later today in the courthouse. So even at the 25th hour, he was not decided what he was going to do. And we're not talking about Stephan Sterns today. We're talking about Jen Soto, the most evil, the most lazy, the most awful, the most DRUG, what do you want to call that? Whatever it is that you want to call that, that's what Jen Soto is, all right? So I wanted to put something up. Worst mother. I wanted you to see this thumbnail. I want to share it one more time with you guys, and then we're going to get into what's next. All right? Will do, Jay. All right, so let me I want to put this up real quick. I just want to share this while we're talking for a bit. I like this thumbnail. All right, there's the worst mother, Jen Soto. All right? So listen, Stephan's legal team is telling him they're not going to be able to just take your word for what happened that morning. You have to have proof. So going to trial about that and saying Jen was asleep or saying Jen was not asleep and she was actually up there and they started fighting and you broke him down, that's not good enough. You got to have proof. So let's take a deal that doesn't say that you did it, but it doesn't take away your culpability and you won't get the death penalty. Done, and done. Stephan's off. He's been sent to the Florida corrections. We're going to talk about that tomorrow. Jen Soto's a coward. She's a devil. She's a rotten potato. She's the worst mother, right? I didn't even talk to you about the fact that Stephan's saying Yolanda forced Maddie to call her mama. I don't think so. I think she happily did that. And that's why Maddie didn't want to go home and she begged Grandma Yolanda, aka Mama. Yeah, that's why he pled no contest. Exactly. That's a ding, 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 ding. All right. So that being said, you guys do me a favor, hit the like button, subscribe, get a membership, gift a membership. It's July. It's birthday month. We're going to be on a crazy schedule next week with my live streaming. I am going to be live streaming, but it's going to be sporadic. It's my birthday on Friday, and I haven't decided to come on or not yet. if lying Stephan Sterns is not guilty, but he is, because he disposed of Maddie's body, and he did things with Maddie's body, maybe even after it was Maddie's body and not Maddie anymore. All right. All right. So that being said, that's what we're talking about. As far as that goes, and thank you, Tiff. I just needed like a yes or no from you about, we'll get to it later, but about Stephan after pleading and being sentenced, he reached back out to Tiff and he vented and he brought up Jen, the potato Soto. Is his word going to get her convicted? No. What's going to get her convicted is hard evidence that shows neglect, that shows abuse, that shows the DRUGs. All right. Yeah. Boohoo at 40 years old. No sympathy. Exactly. You nailed it, Missy. That was awful and disgusting. Leanne, I'm so glad you're here. I am going to do call-ins tomorrow as we wrap up the case. Happy birthday, Rhonda. All right. So I wanted to show you guys. I don't want to cut into the case. It's amazing he will talk to honest YouTubers. Yes, he will. You just have to fall on your sword and say, hey, I showed your pinky winky and I called you a stinky this, or I called you a piece of shit, or just be honest. He got through that. He said, I don't like the things you called me. I don't like the things that you did, but you were honest and I trust your word. That's all it takes. Just be honest, guys. If that doesn't teach you a lesson in this world, just be honest. All right. Jen did it. All right. A bonus, baby. All right. So screw the worst mother in the world, Jen Soto. May she get arrested and get convicted for the most amount that she can in this case. I believe she's right out there. Don't think she's in a mental hospital, guys. I think she's right where she was with Stephanie Soto behind the scene, doesn't want to show her face, and it speaks volumes. But I do think that the prosecution may have something up their sleeve to put these rumors to rest. All right. And it absolutely is. Even if you hate it, even if what you said, even if it's a lie and you lied, always just come back to it, because it's better and easier to tell the truth than it is to tell a lie. All right. I think there are many avenues you can take to grow. Absolutely. All right. And happy birthday, someone said. Kung Fu Panda. Ba, ba, ba. Hit the like button, guys. Kung Fu Panda. All right. All right. So now we're going to talk about, and that way I can cut this off at the end. I don't do anything to lie about, right? I don't either. Maybe after the first, Stephan Sterns arrested, but no more since. Grandma's wrong. Also, she should have let Maddie stay. I agree. And Chief, there's 555 people that just rolled in. Say a prayer that Maddie gets the justice she deserves. That's our Chief Rocca, guilty of crime boyfriend. The jail, she knows everything. All right, let's put that there. All right, I love a hashtag arrest Jen Puta. All right, guys. Now, I don't want to take away from Maddie, but tomorrow I want all of you to be here. We're going to do a call-in show, and then we're going to talk about everything and get it off of our chest. I'm going to read more exclusive jail messages that led up into the trial, the plea. All right, so you get some exclusive content that you never heard before. Give you a few answers. All right. Worst mother in the world, Jen Soto. Justice for Maddie. All right, I want you guys to be there tomorrow. And now, drum roll. All right, let me say Carolina Hurtado. Unfortunately, FBI and law enforcement went deep into Jen Soto, and absolutely no evidence has ever been found. I highly doubt Jen Soto will ever be arrested, as much as we'd all love that. Well, we're going to sit here and say, you know what? We hope that happens, and I'm here for it. The moment someone hears that she's arrested, you come to me, guiltyofcrimebyj@gmail.com. Send me a message. Send me whatever you want. Just send it to me and let me know. Now, before I finish, guys, I want you to be here because I want you to know the kind of stuff that happens on the channel. Getting Foxy Boxes, getting snail mail. We do a lot of giveaways on this channel, and in the giveaways, we do snail mail by Synth. Synth is she's called Synth, Jay's favorite mod. You're going to get something like this in the mail. If you can't get a gift, from the Foxy Box because it costs too much, we're sending snail mail. And I got to tell you, this snail mail is very worth it for me. It's so detailed. It's so awesome. Such detail in this. Synth, thank you. This was my birthday package. Sorry, this is my birthday package, and I wanted you to see the kind of stuff that Synth sends out as snail mail. She really makes sure that she covers you guys, and the stuff's in here is just amazing. We've got stickers in here. We've got birthday cards. We've got letters. We've got envelopes. We've got some really cool stuff in this package. And I want to say thank you to Synth. Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday to all the Leos that are out there. So that's what you're going to get if you don't get a Foxy Box, but you're out of it. You live in Canada, or you live in the UK, or you live in Australia, you'll get a snail mail. If you're in the United States, you'll get things like this. There's a bunch of pens in here. There's my avocado pen. There's little clowns, the evil clowns, Jason, and I'm a horror fan, so she did really well with all these little pens with the avocados and the horror figures for me. Bunch of keepsakes. Deb Stearns and Jen Soto are in a battle for worst mother ever. Well, that was what I read. That I don't agree with, but hey, we can agree to disagree, all right? Arrest Jen Soto. So yeah, I got this, and I got to tell you, Synth makes cookies. Synth makes dope cookies that taste good and that are so cool, I don't even want to eat them. All right, look at this. So, my birthday's on Friday. I'll be 46 years old. And my anniversary for 20 years. 20 years with my wife, 17 years married, 20 years together. She sent me this, so I'll put Arrest Jen Soto there. So there's my 46th birthday cookie. It's really detailed and cool. And 20th anniversary. Isn't that cool? These are cookies. Yeah. Chief Rocka says, finally 21. Happy birthday, Jay. I'm 21. I'm 21 on Friday, guys. All right. 21. Go do a citizen's arrest, Zarina. And thank you, guys. It's my birthday on Friday. It's my 20th anniversary. I'd say that's a pretty good milestone, guys. I think you guys can have some trust in me. Jay from Guilty of Crime. I think it speaks volumes, guys. I think it speaks volumes that somebody could be friends with somebody. I have lots of friends from high school that I've been friends with for 30 years. Still my friend. Never done them dirty. Then I've been at my job for 18 years, 20 years with my wife, 17 years married, 2 beautiful kids I've raised. I would say that I'm pretty stable, very loyal, and as honest as I can be, whether you like it or not. All right. So dope cookies. I love that these things they speak volumes and they taste really good. Baby Guilty told me that she wanted me to give this to the haters. She told me to turn it around and give this to the haters. A piece of a cookie. That's so good. So good. I love sugar. And no, I'm not diabetic, but these cookies are damn good. And they're really cool, too. So, yeah, Synth sent me a bunch of yummy cookies. That's her business. If you want to drop your link in there, go ahead and drop a link, Synth. I got a really cool box full of all the goodies that I wanted to share with you. Yeah, great cookies. I'm going to go do that. Definitely have a blessed life. I'm blessed because, I surround myself with those that I love. And the ones that I don't love, I get rid of once I figure it out. But I also have beautiful children, 125, 110. And I cherish our moments. And I take advice from my children. I saw somebody talking trash about me taking advice from my 10-year-old daughter. Well, guess what? My 10-year-old daughter has more integrity than you'll ever have. So if you're hate watching me, yeah, I take advice from my children. You know why? Because they're empaths and they're smart and they know what's happening. And sometimes as older adults, we miss out on those things. but not me, because I pay attention and I listen and I love my children. So there. All right. Teresa says, thanks, Jay. Now reminds me time to make some butter. All right, guys. I love you so much. Please drop cookie. Go ahead and drop your email. You say directly email me for cookie donations. God bless you. And this is not me bragging. This is me saying happy 20th anniversary to my wife. And I'll take the big happy birthdays from all you. And happy birthdays to my Leos and my Cancers. We're celebrating all month long. I'll be here tomorrow. We're going to do a call-in. I love you guys. Thank you guys. Hashtag let's arrest Jen Soto. Whatever happens from here, just reach out to me. Yeah, 10-year-olds are very smart. Very, very smart. Baby Guilty is so smart. I learn from my children every single day. Man, their feedback is valuable. And unless you're a mother, you wouldn't know that. So get lost. Go hate watch someone else. All right, guys. I love you. Thank you so much. See you tomorrow. We're going to do a call-in show. Stay tuned. 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 7 p.m. Eastern. On that note, I'm out of here, guys. Love you. Go get some cookies. I'm about to go finish mine. Peace out, guys.
Guilty of crime.
I want to thank you for watching. If you enjoyed my content, please share this video, like, and subscribe. You can also follow me over at Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, or Gmail. If you'd like to donate to my channel, you can use Cash App or Venmo or PayPal. Thank you very much in advance. Guilty of crime.
Are you guilty?